The morning I was cleared to go home from the hospital, I was packing my bag. Kyle was supposed to be the one who'd take care of me. I'd had the heart attack on a Tuesday. Mild, they said. But at 65, nothing about your heart is mild anymore. I was in the kitchen, trying to fix the garbage disposal that had been making that grinding noise for weeks. Margaret used to handle those calls. The plumber, the electrician, all of it. But Margaret had been gone for 2 months, and the house was full of things that needed fixing that I didn't know how to fix. The pain started in my chest, then my left arm. I knew what it was immediately. I'd seen enough guys in Vietnam clutch their chests and go down. I managed to call 911 before everything went gray. When I woke up in the cardiac unit at Mercy General, Kyle was there. My son, 35 years old, still had that cowlick in his hair that made him look younger than he was. He was holding my hand, and his eyes were red. "Dad," he said. "Jesus, Dad, you scared me." "I'm okay," I told him. My voice came out rough, like I'd been gargling gravel. "Mom's only been gone 2 months." He squeezed my hand harder. "I can't lose you too." Kyle had always been a good kid. Not perfect, he'd had his troubles in his 20s, dropped out of college, bounced between jobs, but he'd straightened out. He was working at a medical supply company now, had been for 3 years. Steady job, decent pay. Margaret had been so proud. The cardiologist, Dr. Sarah Miller, came in that evening. She was younger than I expected, maybe 40, with sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She explained the blockage, the stent they'd put in, the medications I'd need to take. "You're lucky, Mr. Harrison," she said. "You got here fast. The damage is minimal." She prescribed a list of medications, blood thinners, beta blockers, something for the chest pain if it came back. Kyle wrote everything down on his phone, asked all the right questions. How much of each? What time of day? Any side effects? "I'll make sure he takes everything," Kyle told Dr. Miller. "I'm staying with him for a while." Dr. Miller smiled. "That's good. He'll need someone watching him for the first few weeks." I spent 4 days in the hospital. Kyle came every day, sometimes twice. He brought me things from home, my reading glasses, the crossword puzzle books, a photo of Margaret that I kept on my nightstand. We didn't talk much. We'd never been big talkers, Kyle and me. But he was there, and that mattered. On Thursday night, when he was getting ready to leave, I said, "Your mother would be glad you're here." He looked at me for a long moment. "I miss her, Dad." "Me too." After he left, I lay in the dark and thought about Margaret. We'd been married for 41 years. She died of pancreatic cancer, fast and brutal. 6 weeks from diagnosis to gone. Kyle had been good during that time too, visiting, helping with her care. He'd held her hand in the hospital the day she died, told her he loved her. I thought I'd be grateful to have him now. The day I was discharged, Friday morning, Kyle showed up early. He had his old pickup truck outside, the blue Ford he'd had since high school. I'd taught him to drive in that truck. "Ready to bust out of here?" he asked. "More than ready." A nurse came in with discharge papers and a bag of medications. She went through each bottle, explaining the dosages. Kyle took the bag, listened carefully, nodded. He was good at this, attentive. Margaret had always said he had a caretaker's heart. We were almost to the door when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me... "Mr. Harrison, this is Dr. Miller." "Oh, hello, doctor. I'm just leaving now." "I know." Her voice sounded strange, tight. "Mr. Harrison, I need you to come to my office before you go home. It's important." "Is something wrong? Did the tests show something?" "I can't discuss it over the phone." "Can you come up to the 4th floor? Room 412. Kyle was watching me, his expression curious. "What is it?" "Dr. Miller wants to see me before we leave." "Did she say why?" "No." Something flickered across Kyle's face, too quick for me to read. "I'll drive you around front," he said. "Take your time." He left with my bag, and I made my way to the elevator. My chest felt tight, not from the heart attack, but from worry. Had they found something? Was it worse than they'd thought? Dr. Miller's office was at the end of a long corridor. When I knocked, she opened the door immediately, like she'd been waiting. "Mr. Harrison, please, come in. Sit down." Her office was small, neat. Diplomas on the wall, a photo of her with 2 kids on the desk. She closed the door behind me and sat down, folding her hands on the desk. "I'm going to be direct with you," she said. "When I prescribed your pain medication on Monday, I flagged your file in our system. It's something we do for all opioid prescriptions now, because of the epidemic." "Okay," I said slowly. "This morning, I got an alert. Someone tried to fill a prescription for oxycodone under your name at a pharmacy on Riverside Drive. But you already filled that prescription on Tuesday at the CVS on Main Street." The room felt suddenly cold. "I don't understand. Mr. Harrison, someone is using your information to get additional medications. The pharmacy flagged it because it's the same prescription, and you should still have a full bottle." "That's impossible. My bottle is," I stopped. "Kyle has my medications. He took them when we left the hospital." Dr. Miller's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes did. "Mr. Harrison, I need to ask you something, and please don't be offended. Has Kyle had any history with substance abuse?" "What? No. I mean, he partied in his 20s, but that was years ago. He's been clean for a decade." She pulled out a folder, opened it. "I did some checking after the alert came in. In the past 6 months, there have been 3 other prescriptions filled under your name at various pharmacies around the city, all for pain medications, all while your wife was ill." The words didn't make sense at first. They just hung there in the air. Impossible. That can't be right. Margaret was the one who was sick. She had the prescriptions. "These were under your name, Mr. Harrison. Your date of birth, your insurance information. I never filled any prescriptions. I've been healthy until the heart attack." Dr. Miller slid the papers across the desk. I recognized my information on them, my insurance card number, but I'd never seen these prescriptions before. The pharmacy on Riverside Drive called me directly because they know me. They asked if I wanted to file a report. I told them I needed to speak with you first. My hands started shaking. I set the papers down because I couldn't hold them steady. "Kyle has access to all my information," I heard myself say. "He helped Margaret with her prescriptions. He had my insurance card, my ID, everything." "I'm not making accusations," Dr. Miller said quietly, "but I am concerned. If someone is using your identity to obtain controlled substances, you could be held liable. And more importantly, you could be in danger if they're desperate enough." Kyle wouldn't. But I couldn't finish the sentence, because something was clicking into place, something I'd been ignoring. The money that had gone missing from Margaret's purse in her last weeks. She'd mentioned it once, confused, thought she'd miscounted. I'd assumed it was the morphine making her foggy. The way Kyle always volunteered to pick up her prescriptions, sometimes coming back hours later. The time I'd found him in our bathroom, going through the medicine cabinet. He'd said he was looking for antacids. "Mr. Harrison, doctor." Miller's voice pulled me back. "Where's the pharmacy? The one that called?" "Riverside Drive, near the old industrial district." That was 20 minutes from the hospital. Kyle had left 10 minutes ago. "I need to go," I said, standing up. The room tilted slightly. "Mr. Harrison, please sit down. You just had a heart attack. I need to see for myself." Dr. Miller stood up too. "Then I'm coming with you. You're not going alone." We took her car, a silver Honda. She drove fast, not saying anything, letting me sit with the thoughts that were tearing through my head. I kept trying to arrange them into something that made sense, but they wouldn't fit. Kyle, my son, the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, to throw a baseball, the teenager who'd cried in my arms when his girlfriend broke up with him, the young man who'd sat beside his dying mother and held her hand. The pharmacy was in a strip mall between a dollar store and a closed-down restaurant. Dr. Miller parked out front. "Stay here," she said. "Let me check first." No. I was already opening the door. The pharmacy was old, fluorescent lights buzzing, linoleum floors scuffed and cracked. A middle-aged woman with tired eyes stood behind the counter. She looked up when we came in. "Dr. Miller," she said. "I wasn't sure you'd chat." She stopped when she saw me, and her expression changed. "Oh, this is Walter Harrison," Dr. Miller said. The woman nodded slowly. "The young man who was just here, that was your son." The words hit me like a fist. He's here? He left about 5 minutes ago. Out the back. She gestured to a door behind the pharmacy counter. When I told him I'd called Dr. Miller, he just walked out. Did you give him anything? No. I told him the prescription was flagged and I needed to verify it first. That's when he left. Dr. Miller put her hand on my arm. Mr. Harrison, I need to call him. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. Kyle's number was on speed dial. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. Kyle, it's Dad. I'm at the pharmacy on Riverside. Call me back, please. I tried again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Mr. Harrison, I think we need to contact the police, Dr. Miller said gently. No, not yet. Let me find him first. He could be dangerous if he's my son. I walked out of the pharmacy, Dr. Miller following. The parking lot was mostly empty. No blue pickup truck. My phone rang. Kyle. Dad? Where are you? I'm sorry. His voice was thick, choked. I'm so sorry. Kyle, where are you? I didn't mean for it to go this far. It started with Mom, when she was sick. She had all those pills, and I just thought, just once, to help with the stress. And then it was twice, and then I couldn't stop. I leaned against Dr. Miller's car. My chest was tight again, but not from the heart attack. How long? A year. Maybe more. I've been trying to quit, Dad, I swear. I got fired from the supply company 6 months ago. I've been lying about going to work. Why didn't you tell me? How could I? After everything with Mom, you were barely holding it together. And then you had the heart attack. And I thought, this is it. This is my chance to help you, to be the son you need. But I couldn't stop. I took your pills from the hospital, and it wasn't enough. And I thought I could just get more, just one more time. Kyle, listen to me. Where are you right now? Silence. Kyle, I can't come back, Dad. I can't face you. Yes, you can. Tell me where you are. I love you. Tell Mom I'm sorry. The line went dead. I called back immediately. It went straight to voicemail. He'd turned off his phone. Dr. Miller was watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Pity, maybe. Or sadness. He hung up, I said. My voice sounded strange, distant. What did he say? I told her. She listened without interrupting, then said, Mr. Harrison, we need to file a report. For your protection and for his. He needs help, not jail. He can get help. But first, we need to find him. And if he's desperate enough, if he owes money to the wrong people, he's not violent. Addiction makes people do things they wouldn't normally do. I knew she was right, but he was still my son. I'd changed his diapers, taught him to read, walked him to his first day of school. That didn't just disappear. We went to the police station. I filed a report about the identity theft, the forged prescriptions. The officer who took my statement was young, probably Kyle's age. He was professional, efficient. He asked if I wanted to press charges. I want him to get help, I said. That's not really how it works, sir. Dr. Miller drove me home afterward. The house was dark, empty. She insisted on coming inside, making sure I took my actual medications, that I had her number if I needed anything. You should call someone, she said. Family, a friend. You shouldn't be alone right now. But Margaret was gone, and Kyle was gone, and there was no one else. We'd been a small family, just the 3 of us. After Dr. Miller left, I sat in the living room where Margaret and I used to watch TV. The photo Kyle had brought to the hospital was still on the coffee table, Margaret smiling. That picture from our trip to the Grand Canyon, 5 years ago. Kyle had taken that photo. I thought about calling him again, but his phone was off. Instead, I went to his old room, the one he'd grown up in. I hadn't been in there since Margaret died. It still had his posters on the walls, bands I'd never heard of, movies I'd never seen. In the closet, pushed to the back, I found a shoebox. Inside were empty pill bottles, dozens of them, different names, different pharmacies. Some had Margaret's name, some had mine. There were receipts, too, from pawn shops. Margaret's jewelry, the watch I'd given Kyle for his 21st birthday. Things I'd thought were just misplaced. I sat on his bed, holding that box, and I couldn't breathe right. Not from the heart attack, but from something else. Something that felt like my chest was caving in. My phone rang again. Unknown number. Mr. Harrison, this is Officer Rodriguez, Seattle PD. We have your son in custody. The relief was so intense it made me dizzy. Is he okay? He's unharmed. He was stopped for a traffic violation, and when we ran his license, the alert from your report came up. He's asking for you. I'll be right there. The station was downtown, a gray building I'd driven past 1,000 times but never entered. They took me to a small room, told me to wait. 10 minutes later, they brought Kyle in. He looked terrible. His eyes were hollow, his face pale and drawn. He sat down across from me, and for a long moment, we just looked at each other. I'm sorry, he said finally. Dad, I'm so sorry. How long has it really been? He looked down at his hands. 3 years. Started when I hurt my back at work. Got prescribed Vicodin. It helped, and then it didn't, and then I needed more. Your mother knew? He nodded, not looking up. She found my stash about a year ago. She made me promise to get clean, said she wouldn't tell you because you had enough to worry about. I promised. I meant it. But then she got sick, and she had all those pills, and I thought just this once, to get through it. And then you couldn't stop. I tried, Dad. I went to a meeting once, but I couldn't go back. Everyone there was so broken, and I thought, that's not me. I can handle this. But I couldn't. And when you had the heart attack, I thought, this is my fault. All the stress I've been causing, lying about work, the money I've been stealing. I killed Mom with the stress, and now I'm killing you. You didn't kill your mother. The cancer did, but I made it worse. She was worried about me, spending her last days worried about me instead of. His voice broke. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to rage at him for what he'd done, for lying, for stealing, for using his dying mother's medication. But looking at him across that table, I just saw my kid who was sick and didn't know how to ask for help. Kyle, I said, you need to get help, real help. I know, not for me, not because you got caught. For you. He finally looked up at me, and his eyes were wet. Do you hate me? The question hurt more than the heart attack. No, I don't hate you. Mom did. At the end. She died hating me. Your mother didn't hate you. She was scared for you. Same thing. It's not. I reached across the table. After a moment, he took my hand. She loved you. I love you. But love isn't enough to fix this. You have to want to fix it. I do. I want to. Then we'll find a way. But it wasn't that simple. The prosecutor wanted to press charges identity theft, forging prescriptions, possession of controlled substances. Kyle's public defender said he was looking at 2 to 5 years. Unless there was a program, drug court, intensive rehabilitation, regular testing, strict supervision. If he completed it, the charges would be reduced, maybe dismissed. But it meant 18 months in a treatment facility, then another year of outpatient care and monitoring. Kyle agreed. He didn't have much choice, but I think he would have agreed anyway. Rock Bottom has a way of making decisions clearer. The day they took him to the treatment center in Oregon, I drove him to the bus station. He had one bag, everything he owned that wasn't sold or pawned. I don't know if I can do this, he said. You can. What if I can't? Then you try again. He looked at me for a long moment. I'm going to make you proud again. I'm already proud of you. For trying. He got on the bus, and I watched until it pulled away. Then I sat in my car in that parking lot and cried for the first time since Margaret died. The months after that were strange, empty. The house felt bigger without Kyle there, even though he hadn't really been there. Not the real Kyle. For years. I went to my own therapy, the kind Dr. Miller had recommended. I went to a support group for families of addicts. I learned that love and enabling are different things, that sometimes helping means stepping back, that addiction is a disease, not a moral failing. Kyle called once a week from the facility. At first, the calls were hard, full of silences we didn't know how to fill. But slowly, week by week, we started talking. Really talking. About things we'd never talked about before his childhood. his fears, the pressure he'd felt to be perfect after dropping out of college, the shame that had driven him deeper into addiction. "I remember this time," he said during one call, maybe 3 months in. "I was 8 or 9, and I broke Mom's favorite vase playing ball in the house. I was so scared to tell you, but you just sat me down and said, 'Accidents happen. We fix what we can and learn from the rest.' I wish I'd remembered that when I first got in trouble with pills. I wish you had too. I thought you'd hate me if you knew. I could never hate you, Kyle. I know that now." 7 months into his program, Kyle sent me a letter. It was handwritten on lined paper, his messy scrawl I'd know anywhere. "Dad, they have us write letters in here, part of the 12 steps. Making amends. I've written you about a dozen letters and torn them all up because they never said what I needed to say. I'm not going to make excuses. What I did was wrong. I stole from you, from Mom. I lied to you when you needed me most. I can't take that back. But I want you to know that I'm trying. Really trying. Not just going through the motions, but actually facing all the things I've been running from. The counselor says I use drugs to avoid feeling pain. Mom's cancer, my failures, my disappointments. And she's right. But running from pain just made more pain. For everyone. I think about Mom a lot. About the last conversation we had before she went into hospice. She told me that she wasn't afraid of dying, but she was afraid of leaving you and me when we needed her. She said, "Take care of your father. He's going to need you." And I promised her I would, and then I did the opposite. I can't make that up to her, but I can make it up to you and to myself. I can be the person she believed I could be. I love you, Dad. Thank you for not giving up on me. Kyle. I kept that letter on my nightstand, next to Margaret's photo. The months turned into a year. Kyle completed the residential program, moved to a halfway house, started working at a warehouse, attending meetings every day, checking in with his case manager. He sent me photos, sometimes him at a meeting, him at work, him hiking with a group from his support network. He looked different, healthier. His eyes were clearer. When he came home for Christmas, 16 months after he'd left, I almost didn't recognize him. He'd gained weight. The gaunt look gone. He hugged me at the door, and it was the first real hug we'd had in years. "The house looks good," he said, looking around. "I've been keeping busy. Fix that garbage disposal." He laughed. "YouTube?" "YouTube. We made dinner together. Turkey sandwiches and chips. Nothing fancy. We watched football, not talking much, just being there together. It felt normal. Not the fake normal from before, but real normal. "I'm sorry I wasn't there when you had the heart attack," he said during halftime. "You were there, but not really. You're here now. That's what matters." He looked at me. That same look he'd had as a kid when I'd tell him something he didn't quite believe. "You really mean that?" "Yeah, Kyle. I really mean that." He came back for visits after that, once a month at first, then more often. We went to his 1-year sober anniversary, me and a room full of strangers who cheered for him like he'd won the Super Bowl. We scattered Margaret's ashes together at the Grand Canyon, where that photo was taken. Kyle cried. I cried. We talked about her, about all the things we missed. "She'd be proud of you," I told him. "I hope so." She would. 2 years after everything fell apart, Kyle moved back to Seattle. Not to my house, but to his own apartment. He had a better job now, assistant manager at the warehouse. He was in school, online classes, working on finishing his degree. He called every Sunday, came over for dinner once a week. One Sunday, he brought someone with him. A woman named Rachel, from his support group. She was 3 years sober, worked as a veterinary tech. She shook my hand and smiled, and I could tell she was nervous. "Dad's cool," Kyle told her. "He'll like you." We had dinner, talked. She was easy to talk to, funny, smart. After she went to use the bathroom, Kyle leaned over. "So, I like her." "Yeah?" "Yeah." He grinned. That same grin he'd had as a kid when I'd tell him yes to something he'd asked for. Later, after they left, I sat in the living room with Margaret's photo. I'd gotten in the habit of talking to her, telling her about my day, about Kyle's progress. "He's doing good," I told her. "Really good. You'd be proud." The room was quiet, just the hum of the heater, the distant sound of traffic. But I felt something, a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. Kyle wasn't fixed. Addiction isn't something you fix, it's something you manage, day by day, choice by choice. There would be hard days ahead, I knew that. Days when he'd struggle, when I'd worry, but we'd gotten through the worst of it, together. And sometimes, that's all you can ask for. The garbage disposal started making that grinding noise again last week. This time, I called Kyle. He came over, fixed it in 10 minutes. YouTube? I asked. YouTube, he confirmed. We stood in the kitchen. The same kitchen where I'd had the heart attack, where Margaret used to make Sunday dinners, where we'd spent so many ordinary moments that turned out to be extraordinary just because we were together. Thanks for not giving up on me, Kyle said quietly. Thanks for not giving up on yourself. He hugged me then, tight and long, and I held on, grateful for second chances, for the long road back, for the family we'd managed to piece back together from all the broken parts. Dr. Miller retired last year. She sent me a card, said she was glad to hear Kyle was doing well, that she thought of us sometimes. I wrote her back, thanked her. If she hadn't called that day, if she hadn't cared enough to check, things might have ended differently, much differently. I'm 70 now. 5 years since the heart attack, 5 years since that day at the pharmacy. I take my medications every day, the real ones, prescribed by my new doctor. I go to the gym 3 times a week, take walks, eat better. I'm dating someone, a widow I met at the grief support group. Her name is Linda. She makes me laugh. Margaret would have liked her. Kyle and Rachel got married last year. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. When he said his vows, promised to be there in sickness and health, I thought about all the different ways people can be sick, all the different ways they can heal. They're expecting a baby now, a boy. They're going to name him Walter, after me. I told Kyle he didn't have to do that. I want to, he said, so he knows who to look up to. Kyle, you saved my life, Dad. You didn't have to, but you did. You're my son. Of course I did. He smiled, and it was genuine, full of light. Exactly. I think about that day a lot, the one where everything changed. The morning I was supposed to go home from the hospital, when I thought the worst was behind me. I think about the phone call, the pharmacy, the moment I knew. People talk about rock bottom like it's the end, but sometimes it's a beginning. A place where you strip away all the lies and the pretending and face what's really there. It's ugly and painful and necessary. Kyle still goes to meetings. 5 years sober now. He sponsors other people, helps them through their own rock bottoms. He talks to them about second chances, about how sometimes the people who love you most are the ones willing to watch you fail, so you can learn to stand back up. We have dinner every Sunday, Kyle and Rachel and Linda and me. Sometimes we talk about Margaret, remembering her. Sometimes we don't talk about anything important, just pass the potatoes and complain about traffic. Those are my favorite nights. Because after everything, the lies, the betrayal, the heartbreak, the long road back, we're still here, still a family, broken and mended and stronger for it. And that's worth more than all the pills in the world.